Hello and welcome to Retro Gaming Swede. My name is Oskar and today I'll show you some fun pickups I've made the last month or so. There's some pretty exciting stuff in there, so make sure to stick with me to the end. And hopefully I'll have some gameplay showing in the bottom left corner there. So on we go then. We'll start off with some Mega Drive classics. First we'll start off with Aero the Acrobat. This is a really fun little platformer with a sort of a circus theme. I really enjoyed the little I've played this yet, so I might even do a full-length review on that one. Next up we have Tasmania. This isn't really that super fun, but I got it in a pack with some other games, so I think it'll be okay. Next up we have Asterix and the Great Rescue. I played this a ton as a kid. It's a really fun platforming game. It looks really great, as most of the Asterix games does, for both the Master System and the Sega Mega Drive. Really awesome game. Next up we have the real turd of the bunch. It's Batman Returns. I actually thought I bought the first Batman game, but this isn't that great. It's just so dark. You can't. The first level is so hard, mostly because of everything is mostly just black. But yeah, it's a packing game, so. Next up we have Sylvester and Tweety in KG Capers. Haven't tried this at all because when I tried to start it, it just didn't boot. So I'll have to check it out inside. Next up we have Garfield Caught in the Act. Don't know much about this game either, but it's supposed to be a decent platformer. Next up we have a couple of PS3 wrestling games. I haven't played any of these before, so if anyone knows anything about these two, please leave a comment and tell me what you think. The fun thing with these are both were actually sealed from GameStop when I got them in a second-hand store, so that doesn't happen every day. Next up we have a bunch of PS2 games. The first is a strategy game called Kessen. I used to own this a bunch of years ago, but I haven't had this for a good while. I don't know what happened to it, but as I remember, it's supposed to be pretty decent actually. Next up we have a real classic, Ratchet and Clank. This game is just so fun with all the weapons and stuff you can get. And for the PS2 it looks absolutely brilliant. If you never played a Ratchet and Clank game, do it. Next up we have a racing game called Juiced 2 Hot Import Nights. I remember seeing this in the shop when it came out, and it looked For the time, it looked really great, but I haven't tried it either, so I'm gonna have to do that because I think it can be pretty decent and pretty fun. Next up, we have Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Lockdown. I actually haven't played many of these games at all. It looks like your bog standard FPS game. I don't know anything about this, so I'm gonna have to check in on that. Next up, we have another game I don't know anything about. SWAT, Global Strike Team. It looks like it does look like a normal action game. I don't, as I said, I don't know anything about it. So. Next up, we have an unboxed Street Fighter 4 disc. For some reason, really beat up Xbox 360 case. Those are all from a second-hand store near me, so I just hope everything works. Next up, we have a supposedly really good Sega Saturn game. I haven't tried this out yet. I'm gonna have to need to do that now. Astal. It's a Japanese version though, so it's supposed to be fully playable in even if you don't understand Japanese. Many of these games are actually. Next up, we have a bunch of Japanese Dreamcast games, together with one of the most important things you can own for a Dreamcast: a boot disc. This makes it possible to play imported games. That's basically all it does. First off, we have a Japanese, really nice looking version of Code Veronica, the Resident Evil game. Really nice cover. And if I open it up, the spine card is there too. That's always nice to have. It's a real bonus actually. This is how it just comes in a double normal CD case. So that was that's really fun actually. I didn't know when I bought them, I didn't know the spines were in there. Next up, we have 2 Sonic Adventure. So if I know anyone that wants a copy of a Japanese copy of Sonic Adventure, you can always give me a call. Next up, we have a game I've never heard about called Pen Tricelon. Looks like this. I have absolutely no idea what this is. But it looks colorful and fun. It's gonna be fun to check out. Next up, we have a fighting game called Psychic Force 2012. Yeah. The back of the game doesn't tell me much. But I remember owning a PS1 game called Psychic Force once upon a time. And that, I really liked that. So that one is going to be fun to check out. Next up, we have a game called Maken X. It's sort of a FPS game for the Dreamcast. I remember there being a lot of close combat in it, but don't know much more. Next up, we have one of the best games ever that I already own as a European version. Soul Calibur! Yeah, everyone who has a Dreamcast needs to have at least 2 copies of Soul Calibur, right? Next up, we move on to another really great game, Sega Rally 2. That's also a game you absolutely have to own for the Dreamcast. Next up, we have a game called Blue Stinger. It's sort of a Resident Evil knockoff, you could say. It's a pretty decent game, but I doubt I will play it in Japanese. Next up, we have the reason why I bought the set of the Japanese Dreamcast games. Capcom vs SNK Millennium Fighter. This actually tends to go for much more than I paid for this. What I paid for the Dreamcast games is like the equivalent of 10 euro or something. But if I remember correctly, just the Capcom vs SNK games tends to go for pretty cheap, pretty expensive. So I think I got off pretty good there. Next up, we have the games I got for Christmas by my amazing girlfriend. We have Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, a game I've been sadly missing. This is, of course, absolutely amazing game. Next up, we have a Dreamcast game, Worms Armageddon. All of these games are, of course, all of the Worms games are absolutely amazing if you have a couple of friends to play against. These are, yeah, they're absolutely good. Next up, we move on to the NES. And a couple of really weird games I saw in an auction. We have this, just a pirate version of Adventure Island. I absolutely love the TV game cartridge up in the one of the edges. I really like picking up these because you can get some really weird stuff. Next up, we have a game they call Super Wonderful Mario. And for some reason this doesn't boot either, but I have only tried it in my Retro Free console. I haven't tried it in the normal NES yet. But I guess I'm gonna have to screw it apart to check it out. And last up, we have a real classic for the NES. And the reason I actually bought the other two pirate games, because they were in the same set. We have Ghosts and Goblins. Now this is a beast to play. Man, I really love it. And for you who don't know, NES had, Nintendo had a specific region marking for their NES games, called SCN, and that stands for Scandinavia, of course. And these SCN marked games can go for pretty outrageous prices sometimes. Like most collectors know about Mr. Gimmick. That was only released in Scandinavia, I think. That one can go for pretty insane prices, actually. Anyway, that was all of my pickups for this time. So I hope I'll see you around. Give me a like if you like the video, and hopefully I'll see you around.